Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CWK Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Z, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. And if you're listening to the show on the audio feed, which I publish right after we do the live show, that is Coffee with Kenobi show number 506. Let's bring in all of our friends here. Minta, this is the way it's CWK Day. Hello, Minta. Anthony, happy CWK Live, everyone. Hope everyone has a great start to their week. Yeah, it's been great so far, man. So good. Jason, hello. Good to be with you all. I have my son Henrik with me. It's his first ever CWK Live. Hello, Henrik. Good to have you on the show, buddy. Always glad to have more friends in the Coffee with Kenobi Star Wars family. So it's so good to see you. Hello, Liberty. Liberty is here. Happy Monday to you, Mary. Thanks for, of course, again for joining us. Terry is here. Hello, Terry. Jose says, it's been a while, but happy to join in live. Once again, Jose, pleasure to have you, buddy. Blake says, nice hat, Dan. I was wearing my CWK Alliance hat at work today. Oh, nice. I love these hats, man. And Corey, I think, he always does great designs, but this one is particularly special, I think. Ross, howdy. Hello, what's up, man? Joe is here, too. Glad to join my first CWK Live. Hello, Joe. Great. We've got a couple people who are first-time participants of CWK Live, and you can join us live every Monday night at www.coffeewithkenobi.com/live or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi. Naturally, you can see the replay on YouTube and Instagram. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, you can listen to the audio on our podcast feed, anywhere you can see podcasts. Hello, Jamie. Jamie is here too. Very good. Well, we've got a nice crowd of people, and I'm glad. Oh, first one for Amber, too. Happy to be here. We've got 3 first-timers. This is so good. Yeah, the more people, the merrier. I'm so glad. You know what? This is a good one to start in, friends, because it is our chance to really look at Star Wars Rebels. To me, one of the greatest things that Lucasfilm and Disney ever did together was create Star Wars Rebels, one of my favorite things in the Star Wars mythology. So we're going to go back and look at the entire series, one episode at a time. Anthony says, Joe is my brother-in-law. So glad to have him join the CWK community. He's an amazing person in Star Wars. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for bringing Joe. And again, Joe, welcome back. You know what? That's what it's all about. Bring your friends, bring your family, have everybody be a part of this amazing thing. Liberty says, welcome, Joe. This is a wonderful group of people. Thank you. By the way, my hat makes it look like I have some sort of situation going on in my eyebrow, but it's just the shadow. So I don't know what's going on there. Oh, well. All right, so tonight's show, let's take a look at the topic here. Well, not necessarily the topic, but we've got top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels, Spark of Rebellion Part 1. And then I'm going to show you the Gabb Watch Star Wars band. I've got a review of that. Gabb was kind enough to send that over to me. It's a really great watch that I'm going to show you all about. In fact, let's go ahead and jump into what's brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. All right, so what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week? We're going to show you some fun merchandise options. So this didn't work the way I was hoping it would, so this is the old one from before. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to show you some new stuff. So first, look at that. So Moby Fox has the Gabb watch. Lucasfilm and Gabb watch have paired up together to create these amazing watch bands that come with downloadable watch faces, and of course they are Star Wars themed, so naturally we are going to love that if you're a member of the Coffee with Kenobi community. If you're just a big Star Wars fan in general, you're going to like these. So we got, I'll show you the next one here. This is the one that they sent over to us, which was so cool, right? This is obviously the Grogu. Speaking of, hey, there's Mason. What's up, Mason? I'm just showing your watch, pal. Minta says, ooh, I need one of those. They're really cool. In fact, let me show you a little hands-on preview here. So here it is, right here. This is the watch band itself. You get that in there. See, we downloaded the Grogu one. There are 8 to choose from on this one. And then when you click the buttons, you go left to right, swipe it over. And this is where you can, there are settings to download things. You can, of course, adjust which watch, which wrist you want to put your watch on. It's got a timer. It's got game options. It's got a lot of fun little gadgets. I mean, it's a great watch for people to have. And what I like about this is that it is something where Mason can take this to school, and we have set it up where he can only call or text on this watch to me or his mom. So that's great, right? And it also has a tracker on it so that when he's at school, I can just look at on my phone, on my app itself, and I can check it out and see what where he is, which of course I know he's going to be at school, but it's just kind of nice to have that extra peace of mind, right? So it's really, really nice. It's very, very secure. And Mason loves it too. It's a comfortable watch, very easy to put on, and you just charge it. And I'm noticing we only have to charge it every other day. Now, of course, that may change over time as you know the watch gets older, but since it's brand new, I only have to charge it every other day, and it works great. So Anthony wants to know what the other pictures are. So Mason, you may have to come downstairs and show me. I don't remember how to look at all the other watch faces, but I'm going to try. Oh, here we go. So we've got the Grogu one. There is one of the Mando right there. Sorry about the glare on that. We've got, let's see. There's another one of Grogu sitting in his pram right there. Okay, very cool. And again, this all comes with the band. This is the classic one, like the kind of the Michelangelo one of when the Mandalorian first meets Grogu for the first time. Sorry again about the lighting on this. And then, so that's it. So that is all the, oh, here's one too. Here's just a cute one of Grogu sitting there. So there's a bunch of options for you. It's really, really nice. He loves it. He wears it every single day. So I highly recommend it. I feel like the price is pretty good too. And I think you have like a subscription service where if you decide you want to keep the phone and texting option, you can adjust that. And the parental controls on the phone are really, really nice. The Gabb app is very user-friendly. So I highly recommend it. Again, thank you to our friends at Gabb for sending this over for Mason to have this amazing Mandalorian watch. And again, there's a bunch of different ones to choose from as far as the different bands go. I'll show you the first one again so you have that. But I really like that Star Wars one too. But when Mason says, hey, I like the Grogu one, then that's the one we go with. That's the one that we go with. Very cool. All right. Excellent, everybody. Well, now is the time, what you've been waiting for. We're going to go through your top 5 favorite moments. Oh, geez. From Star Wars Rebels. The first one, of course, is Star Wars Rebels Spark of Rebellion Part 1. So this is an interesting episode because it's the first one. You know, there are a lot of great things that happen out of Star Wars Rebels. When it first came out, you know, people weren't sure what to think because this was the kind of the show that replaced, quote unquote, replaced Star Wars: The Clone Wars, because it was the first animated series to come out at that time. We had no idea, you know, about any of the things that were going to happen in Star Wars Rebels and how much we'd fall in love with these characters. We know what was going to happen with Ahsoka and Anakin because the Clone Wars, of course, kind of unceremoniously ended, and then naturally we got many more episodes as time went on. But initially, we didn't know. Terry says Rebels was great to revisit again. Felt like a new series on par with the other new series from Disney Plus. I agree, and I would even take it a step further. I think if you ask me the best Star Wars things ever made, I would say The Mandalorian, the feature films, most of the feature films, and Star Wars Rebels. I think they're all at a very, very high level. And Anthony says, so awesome to watch Rebels after that Kenobi trailer. Exactly. I think that was kind of cool that there's so many ties there. Tie-in as in connections. Blake, my top 5 is almost all me remembering things that were so great going through this series. So forgive me. No problem, man. And I haven't revisited, like Mace and I watched this, I think, a couple summers ago. Mace, does that sound right? Feel free to weigh in on the comments, buddy. So we did that, and then we would watch it again. It was like watching it for the first time. Just great. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? Number 5 for me is the intro shot. So the intro shot for Spark of Rebellion Part 1 is where you get to see Ezra is looking up and the Star Destroyer goes overhead, and then you see, basically the planet of Lothal right there. And it's very exciting. So let's keep in mind, look, I know when you watch this on Disney Plus for the first time that initially it shows Darth Vader and the Inquisitor, and that's a great scene. I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later. But when this originally aired for the first time, that scene wasn't in there. They re-added it again when they first aired it, I think on just the Disney Channel itself for everybody to see. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was either the Disney Channel or Disney Plus where they just broadcast for everybody. Because originally it was just on Disney XD, and then they just did a one shot where it was on Disney, and they said, "Oh, we've got a new intro," and it had Darth Vader with James Earl Jones' voice and the Inquisitor. But the original intro is Ezra looking at the Star Destroyer fly overhead on the planet Lothal, and that gave us a new scope. Seeing these vehicles in the atmosphere, and just a kind of a great symbolic gesture of what the series was going to be like, especially in season 1. So I love that intro shot. I think it's really, really good. Really, really good. All right, let's see what everybody else has. Minta's number 5. Meeting the crew was so nice. It's a nice change to see a new gang of heroes and how they affected the rebellion. Yes, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later on mine as well. Amber, I had never seen Rebels until this prompt and was very impressed with the first episode, trying not to jump ahead. Oh, Amber, that is so cool. All right, none of us here are going to spoil it for you. In fact, as you probably know, Amber, on Coffee with Kenobi, we are spoiler free. So we are so excited that you are watching this for the first time, because boy, are you in for some awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Anthony, the timeline for the show. As a canon junkie, I appreciate learning more about this era and what it means to be in the dark times, as Obi-Wan described in A New Hope. That's a good point. It's a very good point. Mary's number 5. The introduction, similar to mine, I'm assuming. Ross number 5. Zeb doing his rare hairless Wookiee roar. I don't think that's maybe one of the only times he does that, but it was pretty funny, wasn't it? Jason's sons, Henrik's number 5. The Ghost Crew's secret hand signals as they moved into position to steal the Imperial crates. They kind of tapped their legs on the side. I found myself doing that in school today. And Jason's number 5. Kevin Kiner's music. I love how he uses and repurposes music from the films and mixes it with originals. Yeah, Kevin Kiner is great, isn't he? Number 5 for Terry. Definitely the 3 Star Destroyers felt like the New Hope intro. Yes, very much so. Number 5 for Blake. Off the bat, seeing Vader and the Inquisitor, they wasted no time setting up so much for the show with the villains and heroes too. Yes, they did. And as I said, originally that wasn't in the intro, so they re-added it in. And I'm glad that it's kind of stuck for Disney Plus, because I do think it's a nice kind of ominous thing. Number 5 for Joe. Vader setting the stage for the series at the start. Bingo, right off the bat with the Grand Inquisitor 2. Liberty's number 5. The music and score, the familiar sound themes, sets the tone and makes it feel like Star Wars. But then she says that's her honorable mention. So, Liberty, I'll leave that to you to help us untangle that web of intrigue that you've got out there for us. Let's see. Mason's number 5 is force sensitive. The fact that Ezra is force sensitive and he's able to do these things, he doesn't really know what it is. Very intriguing, sets the stage for a lot of exciting things to happen, but that is Mason's number 5. Let's go ahead and jump into number 4. Number 4 are our top 5 favorite moments from Star Wars Rebels premiere episode. Number 4 for me is the character intros. Look, Star Wars has this great thing where it knows how to introduce a character, how it really knows how to bring a character into the fold. Let me see if I can change the size here. Here I am. Put me over here. Nah, let's see. I'll put me as a circle. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of me. Bye, Dan. The nice thing about the intro is that everybody gets their own moment that shows a little bit of their personality, right? Hera is calm and cool under intense pressure, very much in charge, very playful to a degree. Kanan is very quiet and slick and a little bit mysterious. Chopper's grumpy, which I love. Zeb is cranky and tough and imposing. Sabine is mysterious and crafty with explosives. And then Ezra, of course, has kind of his own thing going on. So it's just really perfect intros of all of these characters. I never usually used to put images with my top 5s, but I'm like, Rebels has to have images. So I'm gonna start doing that. I think it's just kind of cool. All right, let's see what everybody else has for their number 4. Number 4 for Minta. The secret hand signal that they gave each other in order to get the supplies from the stormtroopers. Very good. Let's see. Anthony's number 4. Kanan and Ezra first sensing each other through the Force. What an amazing journey they are about to embark on. Yes. So cool, isn't it? Terry, the subtle Force connection between Ezra and Kanan at the beginning of the episode. Yeah, I like that too. I feel that's going to come up on my list, Harry. I have a feeling. Number 4 for Jason and Henrik. Henrik's number 4, and Jason, if I'm hopefully let me know if I'm pronouncing your son's name correctly because that's very important to me. So Ezra's one-liners as he stole an Imperial speeder bike and tried to outrun the Ghost Crew. That's Henrik's. Excellent, Henrik. Good job, buddy. And Jason's number 4, Agent Callus. I don't normally like villains, but I can't help liking this one. I love that he's part of the ISB and he has the galaxy's best lamb chops. Isn't he cool? I'm thinking maybe a little Callus for celebration. What do you think? I could definitely sport the little lamb chops thing. Number 4 for Ross, the Rodian thanking Ezra for food, providing a taste of what giving back to the greater good feels like. So good. By the way, I love that we're doing this. I didn't even say this, but when I teach like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or anything, I always say, look, I know there's other stuff out there, but let's just focus on the actual story we're looking at now and no clever winks to the future. Let's just unlearn what we have learned and just sort of focus on one episode at a time. Plus, it will help Amber not be spoiled and anybody else who's joining us for the first time. So nice work, everybody. I love the critical thinking we've got going on here. Jill, Sabine giving Ezra an opportunity to escape with a warning. I like that too, Joe. That's a good one. That made my honorable mention. Oh, Liberty's honorable mention was Ross about the hairless Wookiee roar. Oh, no problem about the internet. I understand. Mary's number 4, Ezra's force feeling Kanan below him. Yes, that's part of their intro too. Kind of the intro of them, their connection that they have. Blake's number 4, showing how the Empire ruled over planets and its citizens. That time period is fascinating because of its imperial rule and the rebellion it created, and show that perfectly in this first episode. My favorite era is the beginning of the Empire, right after Revenge of the Sith, all the way to Return of the Jedi. That's my favorite Star Wars era, so I think that's one of the reasons I like this so much. So yes, I am pronouncing your son's name correctly. Thank you. I'm very glad. Of course, my pleasure, buddy. It's very important. Liberty, more Star Wars familiarity when Harris says to the crew is more like family, the found family theme, and you just know they will take in Ezra. Yep. I mean, it's all right there, isn't it? They show it in the first episode itself. One of the things I love about Star Wars. Mason's number 4 is when the holocron calls out, and Ezra, you hear that familiar theme of the Force, and it calls out to them, and Ezra is drawn to it. So that is Mason's number 4, which is a good one. All right, very good. Let's go on to number 3. Again, if you know somebody who wants to watch Star Wars Rebels and kind of wants to be a part of this, invite them along. Tell them to watch episode 1, then catch up for number 2 for next week so we can all kind of enjoy this together. My number 3 is space. Now, what do I mean by space? This used to be an intro when we did Rebels reactions. There we go. Let me get rid of me again. When Ezra first goes into hyperspace, or in space in general, he wakes up, didn't even realize where he was necessarily, and he says, I'm in space, and then he yells, and I'm about to die. Of course, he doesn't. But the wonder, the sense of wonder, and we see this in Solo, too, with Alden Ehrenreich's Solo when he walks into the cockpit of the Falcon for the first time. There's just something kind of breathtaking about being in space. And when these characters get to see it for the first time, it's always breathtaking and super cool. So I really like that part. It's kind of a nice window into Ezra. How he's got this tough exterior, but on the inside he's just a kid, right? And going through the universe for the first time, I just really think that's a really fun thing. All right, another nice thing about these pictures, it forces me to be more long-winded. So I guess that's probably good since it is a podcast. All right, let's see what number 3 is for everybody else, shall we? Anthony, number 3. Let me get this up here for you, Anthony. There you go. Kevin Kiner's score is phenomenal. I love how he's able to blend classic Star Wars themes from the original trilogy with the new Rebels material. Yep, and I think someone else said that earlier too, but I like that as well. At Celebration in 2015, they're selling vinyls of the Rebels soundtracks. I should have got them, especially since I love vinyl so much. Number 3 for Minta. The scene in the marketplace where Kanan and Ezra have a moment through the Force, even though it was subtle, you can see that it was a strong connection. Yep, I like that a lot too. Number 3 for Terry, the reality of the depressive and hopeless rule of the Empire, they are not very kind. No, they are not. Henrik's number 3, Chopper giving Kanan a hard time when he brought Ezra on board the Ghost. Yes, absolutely. And Jason's 3, Chopper's attitude, the way he waves his arm around, he's agitated pretty much everything else about him. I'm sure we'll talk about Chopper a lot through this. I was very public when I first saw this that I didn't really care that much about Chopper, and I was never going to get a Chopper tattoo or anything like that. And then Chopper ended up being one of my favorite characters. So, we'll see. Celebration's coming up. They will have, I'm assuming they'll have a tattoo option. We'll see, won't we? Ross, number 3. Ezra sensing Kanan and then the holocron lightsaber through the Force, but not knowing what it is. Yeah, very similar to Mason's number 4. It's a really good one. Number 3 for Blake, the introduction to the planet Lothal. It's one of my top 5 favorite planets, and seeing it again made me so happy. I love Lothal too. I wish we could revisit it at some point. Joe, Ezra realizing why the team performs the heist. That was really nice, wasn't it? Kind of a moment where you just think, oh. So Ezra sees these guys are not just, smugglers or scoundrels or bounty hunters or mercenaries. They actually are trying to help. Number 3 for Liberty, seeing the Force sensitivity in Ezra, he is being led to the holocron and lightsaber. So cool. Speaking of that, Mason's number 3 is just a holocron. And I said, what do you mean the holocron? You just mentioned that. He said, no, Dad, just having the holocron in the show. And he's right. I feel like it's fair to say that Galaxy's Edge, the holocron in Galaxy's Edge is based on the one from Rebels, which is cool. By the way, if you take the Jedi and the Sith holocron from Rebels and you connect them together and open them up, you get a special message if you like Rebels that you will definitely recognize. Just want to throw that out there. A little Galaxy's Edge hack for you so you can get even more out of Galaxy's Edge. Number 3 for Mary is the Ghost and Chopper. The Ghost and Chopper are just important parts of this whole thing. And seeing them briefly in this episode is really, really fun. Really fun. All right, I mentioned Mason's number 3. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 for me is Ezra and the lightsaber. When Ezra first holds that lightsaber aloft, let me get a picture up here for it. All these pictures, by the way, are courtesy of StarWars.com. Or I just grabbed them right off Disney+. But when Ezra first holds that lightsaber, look at the look on his face. There's like this, there's almost like a hint of smug and mystery and satisfaction. Excuse me. And plus, I absolutely love the hilt of Kanan's lightsaber. Just really fantastic. Really fantastic. So that's just a cool one. I just like the majesty. Anytime the lightsaber is shown, there's a lot of power behind that. That's why last week we had our top 5 favorite lightsaber moments. And so this is just a really fun one as well. Plus, I feel like it kind of tells us something about the character of Ezra Bridger himself. All right, let's see what everybody else has. Excuse me. Manta's number 2, the hair loss Wookiee roar. Poor Zeb. Yeah, Zeb's quite a character in this episode, isn't he? Terry, number 2, can't recall the exact words, but Kanan telling Hera about the plan when Ezra leaves his sleeping quarters. I know what you mean, Terry. I can't think of the exact line either, but that's a good one. Anthony's 2, Vader and the Grand Inquisitor. These villains add much needed stakes to the show. Yeah, you can show that they're not messing around. Liberty, 2 things in quotes. Who are these guys? Who is that kid? Yeah, back to back that question of they're trying to figure out who each other is. Number 2 for Mary, the pull of the holocron and Kanan's lightsaber. He has no idea what path he's about to go down. Right? It's so true, isn't it? Jason's number 2 is the use of humor throughout the episode, so well done and balanced with the action and drama. Henrik's number 2 is Sabine blowing up the Imperial speeders. Yeah, it just kind of tosses that over there and boom. Pretty good stuff. Number 2 for Joe, the animated nature of Chopper. Well, we'll talk a lot about Chopper. I'm not going to break my own rule, but yes, Chopper all the way. Ross is number 2, Vader's hollow projection speaking to and introducing the Grand Inquisitor. Excellent. Anthony says Chopper is the best. Chopper probably is my favorite astromech. Blake's 2, the blend of classic Star Wars music with the new. This show, above all the others, I think, had the strongest original trilogy musical themes, and the first episode reminded me of that. Yeah, they're really heavy in this one, aren't they? I don't know if I can't remember if they are in part 2, but I guess we'll find out later as we rewatch this one, or rewatch part 2. Mason's number 2, speaking of, he's put simply one word, Zeb. Like, how could you not love Zeb in this episode, honestly? He is so much fun. He is so cool, so funny, and so tough. You feel drawn to him. And I remember initially thinking Zeb was fun, not really having a proclivity either way, but I really liked seeing him in this episode like this. I thought he was a lot of fun. All right, it's time for number 1. My number 1 favorite moment from Star Wars Rebels, Spark of Rebellion Part 1, the Force theme. So what do I mean by the Force theme? So, as longtime listeners of the show know, I'm so drawn to the mythology of the Force. I think it's fascinating. I was really delighted to be able to write about it for the Star Wars book and to kind of try to contextualize what we've noticed about the Force over the years. But when Kanan and Ezra have that connection, even though they don't really quite understand it, I'm sure Kanan does, even though he doesn't explicitly say it, there's something special there. The music that we first hear when Obi-Wan and Luke meet each other in A New Hope, and just setting up the mythology, because I was very skeptical of this whole idea of a cowboy Jedi. That's at least how we were told that Kanan was going to be like. I was very skeptical of that idea, and I thought, I don't want to mess with the sacrosanct nature of Luke and being the only one, the chosen, not the chosen one, but the last remaining Jedi. But that didn't happen. It just kind of added to the entire thing by the way they used Kanan. So that was good. That was good, and I'm excited to see what they do with this character. Wink, wink. All right, so number 1 for everybody else. Anthony lighting Kanan's lightsaber for the first time. It is so cool to see this play out from Ezra's perspective. It is similar to Luke igniting his father's blade in New Hope. Interesting. Interesting idea. Number 1 for me, to the Ralph McQuarrie style. From beginning to end, you can see his style represented through the show, giving a different style and feel to the franchise, right? Especially with how Vader looks, too, by the way. Mary says, Hera, she's the ultimate space mom, partner, and confidant. We're starting to see who everybody's favorite characters are. How fun. Terry's number 1. Ezra's reaction when the Rodian thanks him for the food. Yeah, I like someone else. I think Ross, whoever else brought that up before, I can't remember that. I really like that too. Ross says, ladies and gentlemen, Sabine Wren has arrived. I know Sabine is your favorite, Ross. And it looks like Hera is Mary's favorite. Joe says, felt like a family from the beginning. Yes, it certainly did. It certainly did. A very unique one. Number 1 for for Liberty. The dramatic opening is my favorite thing about the episode. Vader and the Inquisitor just set the dark tone of the Empire's rule. That is for sure. Herrick's number 1 is just like Mason's number 2. Zeb, that's right. And Jason's 1 is Ezra's entrance into a larger world through watching the Ghost Crew help people in need and through his awakening to the Force. Yes, that is so true. Amber's number 1, meeting the Inquisitor. I've been hearing so much about with Vader. The reason I'm watching Rebels is to get ready for Obi-Wan. Next week I'll have a full top 5. Hey, Amber, that is great. We're so happy you're here and that you're able to enjoy this, because this is the fun we get to have every week. So we're glad you could join us. Blake's number 1. This first episode really sets up the relationship between the hero crew and Ezra perfectly. As someone who has seen the whole series through once, it was cool to see how it all began. Blake, I love this series. I mean, I've been saying it. I'm glad you're watching again with us because I'm looking forward to your perspective. Speaking of perspective, number 1 for Mason is Kanan's lightsaber. Having it there, having Ezra turn it on, finding it, the fact that Kanan can take it apart and put it back together again, at least he does in this first episode. Brilliant, brilliant. So that is Mason's number 1, Kanan's lightsaber. And if there's ever, Kanan's lightsaber is ever a possibility of a legacy lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge, dude, I got to fly down the floor just to get that thing. It is so cool. It's one of my favorite hilts. In fact, not years ago, but a year and a half ago or so, we did top 5 favorite lightsaber hilts. I'm pretty sure that Kanan's was in my top 5. I have to rewatch that one again, but yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. What a fun thing to do. Be sure to bring your friends next week who want to get involved with Star Wars Rebels and catch up on it, because we're going to look at Spark of Rebellion Part 2. I was tempted to watch Part 2 as soon as we watched Part 1, but no, I'm going to wait. And I'm sure Mason will watch it later this week. Anthony says, we have taken our first steps in our Rebels journey. Yes, we certainly have, and it's so good. All right, so that is going to be next week. So let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. So is it going to ruin? I just want to brace everybody mentally for this, because when I did it before, people were like, "Oh no, it'll come back." But next week for me is spring break, so I think the beard's going away, friends. This is more of a wintry teacher look, but it's getting warmer here finally. In fact, today, it's 53 degrees, so that's pretty warm for us in Central Illinois. So I think the beard's going away, but don't worry, it'll come back again in the fall. So just want to kind of put that out there. I may change my mind, but I think it's going to go away. Okay. Mary says, I did watch part 2 right after part 1. Couldn't resist. Mary, we were tempted, but it was past our bedtime. So, do I have any thoughts on the Kenobi series? Yes, Minta, as you recall. Well, yeah, you were with us. We talked about it on a bonus CWK Live last week. I think it's going to be great. It looks so cinematic, and it looks like it's going to be very special for all the cool stuff on Disney Plus. I feel like it looks like it takes it to another level even. So I'm very excited about it. Anthony says it's time to grow the beard out longer. You know, this thing could get pretty thick, I gotta tell you. Jason simply says, no. He says no. Too bad I don't have that Vader sound effect. Ross, was there a part seen from tonight's episode that you didn't remember and enjoyed? You know, I think the one about them asking about who is that kid and who are those guys? That one was extra fun for me. And then my delight in all the one-liners and Zeb's instant annoyance with Ezra. I just find that just really kind of fun. And I don't remember feeling like it was fun the first time I watched it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. What about you, Ross? That's a really good question. While you're thinking about that, this week on Coffee with Kenobi, boy, was it a fun one. I got to share my Galactic StarCruiser creator interviews. I got to talk finally. I mean, I've talked to him, in passing and things like that at other things. But I got to interview Doug Chang for the show. He is the man, a lot. I mean, you're talking about Star Wars and designers. You've got Rob McCoy and you've got Doug Chang. So being able to talk to him was great. I got to talk with my buddy Matt Martin, a lot of the other Imagineers who helped create the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser and make it come to life. And I even talked to Scott Trowbridge, who is one of the people in charge of all of this stuff. So that was great. Great fun to do. And then on Pour Over this week, lots of Galactic Starcruiser coverage. Behind the scenes of covering the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser Part 2 and kind of what happens when you're a member of the media and you get invited to do something like that. So I shared Part 1 last week and Part 2 is this week. If you're interested, go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance, where you can become a member of the CWK Alliance. You can support me in the show, of course, but you get something out of it as well because you get exclusive access to CWK Prover, our weekly exclusive podcast. So, some more great questions here. Celebration tickets going back on sale tomorrow. Do you have any tips for first-time con visitors? Anthony, do I ever? As we get closer to Celebration, I will be sharing a lot of tips and tricks. We'll be doing probably what we did the last couple celebrations. We do the Road to Celebration every week. We give tips and ideas and look at the panels as they are announced and talk about all the fun things that are going to happen at Star Wars Celebration. Last Friday, they announced finally the podcast stage. And so you can listen to your favorite Star Wars podcasts broadcast live. So that's going to be fun. Yes, Coffee with Kenobi did apply to be a member of the Star Wars Celebration podcast stage. So fingers crossed that the Force is with us and we can broadcast the show to you from there. So we'll just see what happens. We will just see what happens. Tickets do go on sale tomorrow. So if you were thinking about going to Celebration and you didn't buy your tickets yet, tomorrow they're going to open up. I believe the Star Wars Celebration social media will tell you where you can get them from. But you're going to jump on it quickly. Think of when like an action figure drops, you got to jump in on that. If you want to get tickets, there's a limited amount of them, so be sure to jump in and grab those right away. Liberty, going with your Coffee with Kenobi theme and your use of the pour over. What's your preferred method of coffee making? I do use the pour over. Oh, nice. Well, you know what? I just every morning, actually I'd make them the night before, but then it just set the timer. But I just take the coffee, put a little bit of creamer in there, and just there we go. No sugar, no sweetener, no nothing. That's my preferred. I do like pour overs, but I just more like the sound of pour over for the podcast itself. Blake says, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is coming out very soon. Did you and Mason pre-order it? We've waited a long time. We haven't yet. In fact, we talked about it though at dinner tonight, Blake. We're debating should we get it for the Switch or the PS4. We're thinking the Switch. But we're very excited about it for sure. Mary's echoing Anthony the same thing. Make sure when you're online when tickets are available, they go very fast, very fast. Like I think it's amazing and shows to none of our surprise the popularity of Star Wars. But these tickets will go very quickly, so be sure to jump on them as soon as you can. Do I think the tentative StarCruiser meetup will be in July or August? My wife and I are trying to plan our trip around this in 2023. Terry, it's so hard to say. Right now, we haven't talked about it. My guess is it would be late June or sometime in July. That would be my kind of initial guess, but we certainly haven't decided anything. And this week, actually, for Coffee with Kenobi, the show is coming out this Thursday. Lou Mongello of WDW Radio and Becky Mankin of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel are going to join me, and we're going to talk about that and kind of when to kind of keep your eyes open. They just now opened up October, November, and December, so it probably won't be till, gosh, early next calendar year before we have any sort of a sense of an idea of when the dates are going to be. But we will certainly be, as soon as I found out anything, I will be sure to let you know ASAP, buddy. I did post something in the cafe about who's considering going next summer with us. We're not going to go on the Star Cruiser this year because everybody's going to Celebration, or most of us are. And then next summer is when we're going to do our Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Coffee with Kenobi meetup. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know I've done a lot of Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser coverage, and when you go on it, you'll understand why. You will understand why. I don't think I have a promo for this, but let's see. Yeah, so don't forget, the first night of Star Wars Celebration, we're going to have our Coffee with Kenobi podcast meetup. All podcasts are welcome to join us, listeners of all the other podcasts. This is a great way to come and meet other podcasts and to get to know them, get to meet other podcasts, people you've been listening to for years, or brand new shows that maybe you weren't aware of, but then they will become very popular on your subscription. Why am I not being so eloquent? You're going to like it. Lots of Star Wars podcasters are going to be there. When we did it in 2019 in Chicago, I met a lot of you for the first time. A lot of people from Lucasfilm were there. Corey and Tom and me were there. Clayton was there. Clayton Sandell. We had a blast. So we're hoping that you will join us to that one too. I'll give you more information about that next week. Anthony's looking forward to the podcast meetup. Anthony, I'm looking forward to finally getting to meet you in person and shake your hand, buddy. Business cards already. Yeah, it's a good place to network too, honestly. All right, well, that's going to do it for CWK Live this week, Monday, March 14th. But be sure to watch Star Wars Rebels Spark of Rebellion Part 2. Get your top 5 ready and join us next week. Thank you to everybody who joined us for the first time tonight. Looking forward to having you come back next week. And hey, bring a friend, bring a family member. This is a great time to rewatch Star Wars Rebels or to watch it for the first time. It's going to have a big impact. Has had a big impact on the saga. It certainly looks like it based on the trailer. Some of the things in Star Wars Rebels will have an impact on the Kenobi series as well. It's going to be fun to see those bridges connect. Looking forward to exploring it with you, just like we do every week on Coffee with Kenobi. Mary, Minta, have a great week. Thank you so much, Ross. Amber, thanks again for joining us for the first time. Jason, you and your son did a great job. Thanks so much for joining us. Blake says, good night, Stars family. Love you all. Our new friends here tonight. Come back. Yeah, please do. Joe, looking forward to having you back, man. Thanks for joining us for the first time. Anthony, may the force be with you. Liberty, have a great week. Mason, I will see you real soon, buddy. And everybody, remember, this is the Rebels Recap and Star Wars Podcast you're looking for. Henrik, we will see you next time as well, buddy. Thanks so much, everybody. Be well, and may the Force and Star Wars Rebels be with you.